I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing about how I caught my wife cheating on me. Honestly, I thought we had a decent marriage. Sure, we had our fights, but what couple does? It was only after the signs started piling up that I realized something was seriously wrong. Her name's Lisa. We've been together for about 6 years, married for 3. She's always been a little bitchy, quick to lie about small stuff, and she has this habit of dismissing my concerns like I'm annoying for asking questions. But I loved her, or at least I thought I did. I was busy with my job trying to build a future, and she was working part-time while finishing her degree. She was studying psychology, which I thought was cool, but now I wonder what she really wanted from that. The first signs were subtle. She started canceling plans last minute, saying she was studying late at the university. She'd always had a huge ego, so I figured she was just busy. But then I noticed she was acting weird when I came home from work. She'd be more secretive about her phone, hiding it when I walked into the room, and she'd get defensive if I asked about her day. Nothing crazy, just enough to make me suspicious. One night I decided to stop by the university after I got off work. I wanted to surprise her with dinner, maybe catch her in the act of studying or hanging out with friends. I didn't think much of it then. I just wanted to see what she was up to. When I got there, I knocked on her office door because I knew she was studying late that night. The door was slightly open, and I saw her sitting there with a guy I didn't recognize. At first, I thought maybe he was a classmate or a friend. But then I saw her lean in, whisper something in his ear, and they both started laughing, not the kind of giggle you share with someone who's just a friend. They looked way too comfortable, close enough that I could see the way her hand was resting on his knee. My heart dropped. I froze there in the doorway, watching her touch this man like she was in some kind of private world, ignoring that I was just outside the door. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My mind was racing. How long has this been going on? How could she cheat on me with someone she just met in her own department? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. It was a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness all crushing inside me at once. I wanted to storm in, yell at her, make her explain herself, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, silent, watching them. When they finally saw me, she looked up sharply, her face contorting into this bitchy sneer like I was some inconvenience. "What are you doing here, Tom?" she snapped, trying to sound casual but failing. The guy looked uncomfortable, trying to gather his papers, but I saw enough. The way she looked at him, I knew this wasn't just a casual study session or whatever she'd been telling me. She was cheating, no doubt. I left without saying a word then. I couldn't even process what I'd just seen. I went home, sat there in the dark, chest tight, feeling like everything I believed about her was a lie. I wasn't even mad right away. I was just stunned. How could she do this? How long had she been lying? And what the hell was I supposed to do now? The next few days were a blur. I kept replaying that moment in her office over and over in my head, each time feeling a fresh wave of anger and betrayal. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work, and every time I looked at her, I saw that sneer, that dismissive attitude she had when she caught me looking. She acted like I was just some inconvenience, some nobody she could use and discard. I started noticing the little things, her defensive tone when I asked about her schedule, the way she'd get defensive if I even hinted I was onto her. She'd say I was paranoid, that I was overthinking things because I was insecure, but I knew better now. I saw her with that guy, and I knew she'd been lying about everything. One night, I decided I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I set up a time to talk when she got home from her classes. I was furious, but I kept my cool, at least on the surface. She came in, flopping onto the couch, her eyes narrowing when she saw my face. "You've been acting weird lately," I started, voice low and steady. "I saw you in your office last Thursday with that guy. Who is he, Lisa? Do you want to tell me what's really going on?" She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "Oh, please, you're being ridiculous, Tom. Just because I stayed late at school doesn't mean anything. You're so insecure, always accusing me of things I haven't done." I could feel the blood boiling in my veins. "Don't lie to me. I saw you. You were touching him, laughing with him like he was your boyfriend. How long has this been going on? Are you sleeping with him?" Her face twisted into something nasty. "You really are a jealous idiot, aren't you? It's not like that. He's just a friend. You're so paranoid, God, the way you act. Maybe you're the one with the problem, always accusing me of stuff. I clenched my fists. I knew she'd try to play it off, make me feel like I was the crazy one, but I wasn't backing down. I don't believe you, I saw. Enough, and I know you've been lying about everything, about your schedule, about your friends, about us. She got up, storming over to me, voice shrill. You don't get to judge me. You're insecure, stupid, and honestly, I don't know why I married you in the first place. I've been miserable with you for a long time, Tom. Maybe you're the one who needs to look in the mirror. That punch to my gut hit harder than I expected. All the anger and sadness I'd been suppressing poured out. I told her I was done, that I couldn't take her lies anymore, and that I was going to find out the truth once and for all. She just laughed, that icy laugh that made my blood run cold. In the following days, I started digging. I hacked her email, looked through her phone, and even followed her a couple of times. I found out she'd been meeting him in secret, texting late at night, even sneaking out sometimes when she said she was at class. I knew she was lying, and it made me feel sick. It was like my whole life was a lie. What really pushed me over the edge was discovering her secret rendezvous in his office, him taking her hand, her leaning into him. That's when I realized I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. I was that kind of furious that makes your hands shake and your chest ache. I wanted to confront her again, but this time, I knew I had to do something more decisive. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, pretending everything was okay while she was screwing around behind my back. I spent the next couple of days trying to keep my cool, but inside I was boiling. Every time I saw her, I felt like I was walking on thin ice. I kept thinking about how she lied, how she'd been screwing around with this guy from her department, and how she dismissed everything I said. It was like she didn't even care, like I was some kind of nuisance she had to put up with. That realization made my blood run cold. One evening, I decided I'd had enough. I called her into the living room and told her I needed to talk. Her face immediately curled into that bitchy sneer that I now recognized as her default expression when she was uncomfortable. I told her flat out I knew about her affair, about her sneaking out, about the guy in her office. Her eyes widened just for a second, but then she immediately started lying again. Oh, Tom, you're overreacting. You always jump to conclusions. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, brushing past me like I was nothing. Her tone was so dismissive, so full of venom that I actually felt my fists tighten. I looked at her and said, don't lie to me. I saw the messages, I saw how you're acting, and I'm done pretending I don't know. You're cheating on me, Lisa, and I want an explanation. She scoffed, rolling her eyes. You're ridiculous, you're just insecure, I don't have to explain myself to you. If you're so obsessed with my damn phone, maybe you need to get a life. That was her response. Always deflect, always spin it around so I felt like I was the crazy one. But I was. I knew the truth and I knew she was lying. I lost it then. I told her that I wasn't going to be played anymore. That I'd seen enough to know she was lying, cheating, and disrespecting everything we had. I told her I was planning to leave, to end this mess for good. She started crying, which I thought was fake, but honestly I didn't care. I'd reached my breaking point. The next morning I started packing my stuff. I couldn't stay with someone who had no respect for me or our marriage. While I was packing, she came into the room trying to guilt me with tears and fake apologies. Tom, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. I swear I love you. That's when I realized she was good at lying, but her words didn't mean anything anymore. I saw through her. I left her that day with some of my things, and I told her I was done for good. I couldn't look at her without feeling the rage, the hurt, and the betrayal crushing me. I knew I'd have to face the fallout, her bitchy side, her lies, and whatever manipulations she'd try to throw my way. But I also knew I couldn't keep living in this nightmare. I needed to start over, free from the lies she'd built around us. I still feel the sting of that betrayal. I keep asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I let her get away with this for so long. I trusted her more than anyone and she threw it all away. But I also realize I can't control her actions or her lies. All I can do now is pick up the pieces and learn from it. To anyone out there dealing with a betrayal like this, trust your gut, because once you see the truth, there's no going back. After I moved out, life got a lot tougher than I expected. I thought I'd be relieved, free from the constant stress and betrayal, but instead I just felt hollow. Every day was a reminder of what I lost. I kept replaying those moments in her office, her dismissive attitude, the way she touched that guy like I was nothing. It made me question everything about our marriage, about who she really was. I started going through her stuff, trying to understand how she could have lied so effortlessly. I found her emails, her texts, all the secret messages she'd exchanged. It was sickening. She'd been sneaking around for months, probably even longer. Every message, every rendezvous was a dagger twisting in my stomach. How could she betray me like this for someone she barely knew? But the worst part was the way she lied to my face, like she genuinely believed her own bullshit. She'd call me insecure, obsessive, crazy. She'd say I was overreacting, that I was imagining things. Meanwhile, she was out there screwing her professor, probably laughing at how naive I'd been. I'd never felt so stupid, so humiliated. I decided I needed to do something about her, not just leave, but make her regret ever messing with me. I started plotting my revenge. I wanted her to see what she lost, a version of her that thought she could walk all over me. I knew I wasn't going to get her back, not anymore. I just wanted her to feel the pain she'd caused me. That became my motivation. I reached out to the guy she'd been cheating with. I found out his name was Mark. I didn't bother calling him directly, but I did some digging. I posted anonymous messages on university forums, warning students about him, how he was a manipulative asshole who used women for sex and then discarded them like garbage. I wanted him to feel the weight of this. I wanted him to know I was onto him. Then I started thinking about how I could make her pay in a more personal way. I decided I'd hack into her email and social media accounts, not just to see what she was doing, but to send her some messages, nothing explicit, but enough to humiliate her. I wanted her to see all her lies exposed, to realize that I knew everything. It was becoming an obsession. One night I stayed up late and finally got into her email. The things I found I can't even put into words. There were messages between her and Mark, plans for their next rendezvous, flirtatious messages that made me feel physically sick. But I also found something even more disturbing, her plans to finish her degree and then leave me for good with Mark. She'd been planning her escape, using me as a cushion until she was ready to move on. I printed out everything and kept copies just in case. It was my proof, my ammunition. I was furious but also determined. If she thought she could lie, cheat, and dismiss me without consequences, she was dead wrong. I was going to make her regret ever crossing that line. I wanted her to feel the loss, the shame, and most of all, the pain of losing her family, her marriage, her dignity. I knew I had to be careful, though. I couldn't let her see I was onto her, not yet. I played it cool, pretending everything was normal whenever I saw her, while secretly planning my next moves. I wanted to ruin her, but I also wanted her to understand what she threw away, me, our life together, everything. She thought she was smart, that she could get away with it. But I swear she underestimated what I was capable of when pushed. The more I uncovered, the more I realized how deep her betrayal went. I kept the evidence close, knowing I had to be strategic. I wanted her to feel the full weight of what she'd done, but I also knew I had to be careful not to tip her off prematurely. The last thing I needed was for her to hide or delete her secrets. One day, I decided to confront her directly. I called her and told her I wanted to meet, just us, no more lies. She agreed with that typical bitchy tone she always used when she thought she was in control. When we met up, I didn't waste time. I brought my phone loaded with everything I'd found, her emails, her texts, the evidence of her plans to leave me. "Lisa," I said, voice steady but filled with controlled anger, "I know everything. About you and Mark, about how you've been lying, sneaking around. I know you've been planning to leave me once you finish your degree. You thought you could get away with it, didn't you?" Her face twisted with that fake guilt look, but I saw the flicker of panic behind her eyes. "Tom, I don't know what you're talking about," she said, trying to smile it off. But I didn't let her. I pulled out my phone, showing her the evidence I'd collected. Her eyes widened and her lips trembled. "I've had enough of your lies," I said. "You've been cheating, planning to leave me, and all the while pretending to be this innocent, caring wife. Well, I've got news for you. I'm not stupid. I know everything. And I'm done with your bullshit." She tried to deny it, to blame me for being paranoid or insecure. Classic Lisa, always shifting blame, always avoiding responsibility. But I wasn't having it. I told her she could lie all she wanted, but I had the proof. I told her I was filing for divorce and that I was going to make sure she paid for what she did. That's when she lost it. She started crying, shouting, telling me I was overreacting, that I was crazy and insecure. But I'd had enough of her BS. I told her I'd already made her choices and now she had to live with them. I told her I was taking everything, my dignity, my self-respect, my peace, and leaving her to deal with her own mess. She begged, of course, tried to guilt-trip me, saying I was the one who'd screwed up, that she still loved me, that it was all a mistake. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I knew her type. She's the kind who cheats and lies, then plays the victim when it all blows up. I told her she could keep her apologies, they meant nothing now. I left her there, broken and crying, clutching her fake tears. I walked out feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. I wasn't proud of what I'd done, but I also knew I was finally free from her. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. I was done with her lies, her bitchy attitude, her fake-ass apologies. What I learned from this experience: trust your gut, never ignore the signs, and be prepared. You might think you know someone, but sometimes they surprise you in the worst way. When someone crosses that line, it's not just about the betrayal, it's about knowing when enough is enough. And I've realized that sometimes walking away is the only way to reclaim your dignity. After everything, I've been trying to piece my life back together. It's not easy, and I won't lie. There are days when the hurt hits me out of nowhere, when I regret trusting her, or wonder if I could have done something different. But most days, I remind myself that I deserve better, that I'm better off without her bullshit and manipulations. The divorce is finalized now. I've started seeing a counselor, not because I think I'm crazy, but because I need to process what happened. I've learned to trust my instincts more, to recognize the red flags early before they turn into something worse. I also realize how important it is to value myself, my feelings, my boundaries, my dignity. Looking back, I wish I had seen the signs sooner, but I also know that some things only become clear when you're ready. And sometimes, the only way to see the truth is to face the pain head-on. I don't hold any hate anymore, just a quiet understanding that people can surprise you, that betrayal can come from those closest to you. It's a hard lesson, but one I had to learn. Now, I'm focusing on moving forward. I've reconnected with friends, started a new hobby, and I'm slowly rebuilding my confidence. I've realized that my worth isn't defined by her lies or her betrayal. It's about the respect I give myself and the future I'm creating for me. If there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this: never ignore those warning signs and never let someone treat you like you're less than you are. Trust your gut, protect your heart, and when someone crosses that line, don't hesitate to walk away. Because in the end, life's too short to be with someone who doesn't value you. I don't regret what I did, even if it hurt like hell at the time. It was a wake-up call I needed, an ugly but necessary lesson. And now, I finally feel like I'm free to start over, to find someone who truly deserves my trust, my love, and my respect.